The title caught my eye. Half of WoW players have quit. So I want to see him talk about this. If he talks about something else, I really don't care much about it. But I do want to see what's going on with retail players quitting the game. So let's see what the fuck is going on. Okay, here we go. Let's see what it is.
Welcome back to the Warcraft news. Yeah, rather shocking title, isn't it? I was a bit surprised whenever I saw that story pop up on stream, but no worries though, it is all actually quite interesting. Speaking of, by the way, streams on Fridays on this channel. We've been doing them for a bit. First time I've actually mentioned a video, so come along, it's good fun. And also, we've got a new channel. Yes, a new channel. This is where the choice cuts of what we do go. News, discussion topics, and a whole bunch more. So if you would like quick hits of our content, check out the Bellular Clips channel, which is linked down below, and give that a sub. Thank you for all your support, and with that said, let's get stuck into the news.
Dude, Bellular's doing the fucking Joe Rogan method, right? He's doing the once-a-week podcast, the clip channel, the 2 actual news channels. Bellular is a fucking pumper, man. He pumps.
So to kick us off, WoW's player base almost halving and revenue more than halving. Whoa, this changes everything, I may say, in a video thumbnail. But actually, there is plenty to understand here because these numbers, they're not from some whack job on Twitter or something. No, they're from Superdata. They're a research firm who got picked up by Nielsen. Yes, that Nielsen, the big media analytics firm, a few years ago. They are legit. And indeed, much of the positive news about WoW subs recently has came from Superdata. So, revenue down 61%, players down 41%. Sounds like doom, doesn't it? Well, not necessarily. It does mean that some things aren't ideal, but here is the...
I mean, here's the thing. This is probably counting Classic players also. How would they differentiate between Shadowlands players and Classic players? So you're saying Shadowlands Omega lol. Bros, this means Classic also probably.
Bottom line. World of Warcraft has extreme seasonality, and this pattern of a massive launch followed up by a crash in players is actually typical for the game. Of course, Superdata point out that this is typical for World of Warcraft over the last few years, the last few expansions, but that this time it did actually start with a particularly strong launch. Now, revenue falling by more than the player count does make a lot of sense. Of course, 6-month subscriptions were locked in like November, December. More tokens were purchased by players during launch. More race changes for the new customizations, things like that. And of course, more sales. Now, players being down by 41% means that, yeah, those players are actually leaving. But of course, most people are, or many people are only interested in the first month or two of an expansion. And then maybe, a patch launch month. Now, the question is that a...
The phrase, most people are only interested in the first month or two of a new expansion. I don't know if that's true. Like, I think people want to play WoW and want to have fun. No, hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out, okay? Listen, I don't think it's true. I think people are interested in playing WoW and want to have fun playing WoW, and so they come back to a new expansion, they try it for a month or two, and they realize, this is a shit expansion. I'm done. People are willing to give it a try, right? They see, this isn't what I want, and then they leave. It's not that they only want to play for a month or two. They want to play a lot, but after a month, they realize, this isn't what I want. That is what it is. So I think for a lot of people, Shadowlands did not keep them on the hook. It didn't keep them engaged.
Problem that is what World of Warcraft's player activity these days is like. I would say, of course, this is a problem, because if you keep on churning through players, you will lose them over time. Now, Superdata correctly points out that WoW Classic means that World of Warcraft, the business, can have a yearly spike each year, instead of every 2 years. And that certainly is good, but it does risk masking the problem of, many players jumping ship. Now, if we look back to the vanilla through Warlords of Draenor run, you can see that TBC, Wrath, Cataclysm, and MoP did not have decreases anywhere near what Superdata report. Now, Warlords of Draenor did, but I think we all know why. That is an expansion that ran out of steam extremely quickly, meaning that really only the PvPers and the raiders had something to do. So, have you quit? Why? Why have you quit? What's happened? I've not quit, and I actually know why I haven't, and I think that's rather revealing. Because when I logged in to get my Denathrius ahead of the curve kill a while ago, my character was already in Castle Nathria. Yeah, I actually hadn't played that character between raids. Why? Well, there just wasn't anything that I wanted to do outside of what I do with friends, which is raiding. Solo world content has sucked since Warlords of Draenor, in my opinion, and I think it still sucks now. In the past, individual reputations like Cloud Serpent, Golden Lotus, Netherwing, and Sketis, those were things that felt, well, a bit different than generic world quests. In many cases, those reputations would have their own little story moments, and the actual stuff that you did would change as the rep increased. Each one of these things in the past would give you 20 to 30 days of gameplay and neat rewards that were not to do with player
Yo, he's out here thinking that Netherwing rep is going to give us 20 to 30. Listen, I'm going to be exalted in less than 48 hours. Clip this, man. I will be exalted with Netherwing in less than 48 hours, okay? You won't? Oh, I fucking will. I will, man.
power.
I fucking will.
And they weren't the kind of thing that would just stand to the game for really the life of the expansion. You know, when Sun...
Okay, listen. People are saying how? People are saying how? Let me draw something for you. Hold up. Okay. If you know, you know. If you don't know, you don't know. This is how. This is how. That's how. That's how. That's how I'm going to do it. And if you don't know, then you don't know. But if you do know, then you do know.
Well was out,
Is it leaked?
people were
Yep.
still doing some Netherwing. And each one of these things, giving you your 20 to 30 days of gameplay, would help to keep people in the game. The thing is, though, content like this doesn't really exist anymore. And I think that's because Blizzard learnt the wrong lessons from Mists of Pandaria's launch, where, of course, they attached Valor points to daily quests and then removed the daily quest limit, which meant that people had a bit of a revolt over it. But now, a casual, non-instanced PvP or PvE player has just world quests to do. And of course, the Covenant campaign. But the world quests, they just feel the same, and therefore factions that are just a bar to fill.
I think probably the single thing I dislike about Shadowlands the most right now is the completely forced and unnecessary and overwhelming amount of NPC dialogue and lore you have to deal with in order to do literally anything in the entire fucking game. Like, if you're doing anything with world quests or anything in the Maw, it's so much boring ass fucking NPC dialogue and oh, it's me, Lady Moonberry. You just have to sit there and listen to them, and you can't skip through it. Like, you just have to sit there and deal with it, and it's just so fucking annoying and boring. Like, just let me play the fucking game, man. Fuck.
I mean, do those factions have a cool base in the world? Do they have neat characters that you interact with? Do they have unique mechanics and storylines? The answer is no, they do not. And they didn't in the last two expansions, pretty much. Now, what this amounts to, I think, is something that many casual players will feel. They play for 2 to 4 weeks, they cap their character, they have fun going through the initial gearing process, and then they've got little to do. I mean, the game's various secrets content. Now, those secrets are great for, you know, the secrets Discord, for Wowhead guides, but most of the casual player base will never even know they exist.
You don't have to do the world quests. I mean, yeah, it's true. Like, you don't have to do anything in the game. You don't even have to play the game, right? I think a lot of people, if they're playing WoW, they like to kind of do completionist stuff where they feel engaged with all aspects of the gameplay, right? Like, people like to raid, they like to PvP, they like to do the quests. People like to do the entire game, kind of. The problem is, in order to, like, be that sort of, like, multifaceted, completionist style gamer in World of Warcraft these days, it's really, really fucking annoying. It's really, really annoying to do that because a lot of it's just so fucking, like, unfun.
The weekly campaigns that we get for the Covenants, well, those are rationed out to the extreme, such that you'll never really get into the flow or get immersed in them. And let's be real, that's content that's pretty damn shoddily implemented as compared to other MMOs' efforts, even from a few years back.
Yummy.
I mean, at least Legion gave that player base Suramar as a thing to get their teeth into after the expansion came out, but I think BFA and Shadowlands really gave them very little.
Do you like tying PvP and PvE power to other parts of the game, like raid trinkets being good in PvP? I don't think you should get BIS gear for PvP in PvE or vice versa. Like, I really dislike that. In fact, this is one super hot nuclear take that I know you guys are gonna disagree with. I hate the fact that in TBC and in Wrath Lich King, or any expansion ever, but it's really prominent in TBC and Wrath, I hate that you can use legendaries in Arena. I always thought that was so fucking brain dead, man. The fact you can get double Warglaives in TBC and bring it into Arena, or get a fucking Valanir or a Shadowmourne in Wrath Lich King and bring it into Season 7 or Season 8 PvP, like, holy fuck, that is so brain dead. That is so fucking stupid, man. So yeah, like, I think having a little bit of cross viability between both is fine. Like, let's say you don't have any PvE gear, but you have full, let's say you don't have any Black Temple gear, but you have full Vengeful gear. It's like, you can decently heal a raid if you're in full Vengeful gear as a Holy Paladin. Okay, that's fine. But is it BIS? No. So I think you need to keep BIS respective to the avenue from which you get it, right? That's my take.
And I think that's why you see some of the extreme seasonality. Those of us who can raid PvP and Mythic Plus, we're just fine. But for the more casual players, and that is a massive group of players, I think, well, elements of the game are diminishing. I think Blizzard treat those casual players as an afterthought, and I think it's no wonder that they leave, and that we see this extreme seasonality where so many people come back to WoW, and then pretty much half of them leave pretty soon after. Now, as a raider, and I would say this if I was Mythic Plus or PvP focused, all that I really want is a less annoying and more simple system so I can just get in and do great content. I would rather Blizzard's extra effort went into other parts of the game. I mean, perhaps I wouldn't be raid logging my character, and the people who have given super data their 41% number, well, perhaps they wouldn't be leaving. Legion gave us Suramar and a few other things. BFA gave that casual player base islands and warfronts. Shadowlands gave them the same old with world quests, a set of character, and the people who have given super data their 41% number, well, perhaps they wouldn't be leaving. Legion gave us Suramar and a few other things.
This is also probably a fucking nuclear take. I really did not think Suramar was that fun. You know the one good thing about Suramar? And it's like super cozy. I really like quest hubs that progress as you like visually progress as you complete more shit for that reputation faction or whatever the fuck. So it's like your little like Suramar base, the little cave you're in, as you progress, you get more rep, you do more quests. There's more portals or more vendors or more NPCs. I think like that aspect is really cool, and you kind of have that on Isle of Quel'Danas actually as well in Burning Crusade. I don't know, like it's obviously not to the same degree, but that's really cozy and cool. But man, like doing the actual quests or content itself in Suramar, it's obvious just quest design has changed so much over time. I feel like WoW has suffered from this issue where it's like you have a wheel, right? It's like very basic. You know that it works. It spins in a circle. It gets you where you want to go. It's effective. And then you have like game developers come up and they're like, oh, yo, like the wheel's pretty good, but what if we like made the wheel better? What if we put some fucking like, what if instead of like a circular wheel, we made like a square wheel? Like, let's redesign it. Oh, what if instead of a square wheel, we make a fucking triangle wheel? Right, and so you're like clunking around, and it's like, yo, like, just like we all know that we like the wheel. We all know the wheel works. Just let us keep having fucking wheels. Let's put spikes on it. Yeah, exactly. Like, just give us what we know we like. And I understand I don't know. This is like my outside take. I feel like a lot of WoW developers, I feel like there's like a lot of ego involved in the development, and they don't ever want to rehash anything maybe another developer did in the past, or that they even themselves did in the past, and they feel like they have to keep fucking pushing the envelope and coming up with new crazy things, and the new crazy things they come up with like don't work half the fucking time. And you have this like cyclical expansion cycle where a new expansion comes out, it's like, you know, 9.0, and they have all these like new systems, and it doesn't fucking work. And then 9.1, 9.2, 9.3, they spend all this time, you know, for sort of polishing these systems. And by the time the final patch of the expansion is here, everything works reasonably well. Like they kind of, you know, they sand it down. It's working okay. And then boom, 10.0 comes out. Boom, entirely new systems again. They have to overhaul everything. And now nothing works again. And so they spend the next year and a half like refining these new systems they made. And they've done this for the last like 4 expansions. And it's like, I feel like if they would just kind of look back in the past, they would see, oh, there's some really good shit we've already done we can keep doing. So, I mean, they're actually kind of doing that in Shadowlands now. They're sort of on that path in Shadowlands where they're adding back, what is it, like the Valor upgrades or whatever the fuck. I don't know, man. And like outside of character progression like that, you have pieces of content like the Mage Tower or the Timeless Isle, which everyone fucking loved. Like, hands down, like, everyone fucking loved Timeless Isle. Everyone loved the Mage Tower. It was badass, it was fucking sick. And then the new expansion comes out, and it's just like, yo, like, just do it again. Like, just make that same shit again. Just, like, make more content for that same shit, pretty much, right? But this, like, this scrap it and move on to something else, right? I don't know.
BFA gave that casual player base islands and warfronts.
Jerome, hey, dude.
Shadowlands gave them the same old with world quests, a set of just okay campaigns, and a version of Torghast that ended up being an exercise in self-sabotage. So no wonder they're leaving. That's why I would say, fellow Raiders, I don't think it is us that needs love from Blizz. And really, that's my prime analysis for this super data thing. This essentially is what we've seen happen for the last few expansions. It is a very big headline-grabbing number, absolutely, but I think when you take it in context, it's not wholly surprising because it is what's been going on for the last while. And again, those older subgraphs that don't seem to show that, they are from the game's growth phase, so you would expect to see less of that seasonal dip, especially that's the case when people were still, you know, only having a few characters. All the rewards seem...
You know what's crazy? It's like... let me see here. If you were to overlay a chart, let's say you take this and you overlay a chart, you put this in Paint. If you had another line that represented like Blizzard's revenue from World of Warcraft, I bet it pretty closely matches. And then you have more cash shop and transfers. I bet it actually kind of like goes like this. If you're talking about revenue for World of Warcraft, not sub count, but revenue. And in fact, I bet it's probably continued to go up because of all the microtransactions and shit like that. So it's like, you know, they give less of a fuck about actual player base and more like, are we sort of milking the current player base that's willing to spend a lot of money to the fullest capacity?
A bit more exciting, and you know, it was just...
And you see that already in TBC with level 58 boosts, you know? Like, okay, let's say we add 58 boosts and some people are so mad about it that they quit Classic TBC. They're not going to play it because they're so mad about level 58 boosts. All right, later, fuck them. We're making more money by doing the 58 boosts than we would have had from those people continuing their subs. So it's like they have an entire, you know, like income analysis department at Activision that determines like, all right, is this a good move? You know, but I guarantee they've thought about this a lot, right?
Time.
Before they do.
So that's my
like
take
this.
on why 41% of the players reportedly have left since the launch of this expansion. I'd like to know what yours is, especially if you're one of those people who has left.
Okay.
Next up, one of the more major...
Yep. I don't think anyone gives a fuck about 9 point whatever changes. Yeah. All right. Okay. I'm gonna link his video. Interesting analysis.